Coach Davis, thanks for joining us on the Boxed Out podcast.
Well, good to be with you guys.
So we're kind of just going to be taking turns asking you questions, just having an open discussion. I'll be the first one to kick things off. As an SEC coach who's been living, sleeping, eating sports for so long, we're going into week 3 of no sports at all. Just what have you been up to?
Yeah, it's all of our lives have changed so differently. We're all working from home. That started about 10 days ago. So I'm here with my wife and my daughter, Allie. And then my daughter and her husband from Tupelo came over and going to spend about a week with us before they move into to a house there. So, everybody just working from home. We're all trying to figure it out. I know everybody, what discourages everybody is just, I guess, timelines. Kind of when is everything going to start back to normal. And but right now, we're in a dead period. We usually be right now recruiting, going all the time. So both my wife and my daughter are ready for me to get back recruiting, get out of this house. I promise you that.
In terms of perspective, you and your team were at the SEC tournament when all of the dominoes started to fall. What was the mood like for you and your team when you see the NBA is postponing their season, Rudy Gobert is diagnosed with coronavirus? What was your team's perspective?
Yeah, you could tell it was an eerie feeling. Young guys, they just want to play. They just want to play, and that's really what they're focused on. At that time, the virus was there, but it wasn't like what it is now. We didn't know how, kind of epidemic that it was going to be. If you walk in, I walked in that arena at Bridgestone for our practice day before. You could tell when I talked to the commissioner and I talked to the associate commissioner, they were in a real different place. They were trying to figure everything out. A lot of things were on their mind, just the things that you were talking about. And they went forward to playing the game with fans. And that's what everybody did, all the leagues did. And then things changed so quickly the next morning, when the NBA and Gobert tested positive. And we're going to follow the NBA's kind of suit. College football will probably follow the NFL suit. And, and we kind of did really, really quickly. But the commissioners across the country did a great, great job.
You talked a little bit. Well, I was going to say, Kermit, you just talked about your wife and your daughter, Allie. I know we talked last week. You're hoping to get up there, but your daughter started up a library in your garage, and you had a tweet that went semi-viral last week. What did you talk about that?
Well, Allie's been so involved. Even when we were in Murfreesboro, Allie was so involved. She was an assistant librarian for probably 12 or 13 years in some of the local elementary schools there. She has great affection for books. She's in probably 3 or 4 of the school systems here as a teacher's aide. And so she knows all the kids. And this was really kind of before, everything got really, shut down. It was my wife, Betty, and her idea, take all the old books that they had since the library was closed and just have them come by the house and you could check books out, and Allie was acting like the librarian. So it was really cool. Then the social distancing thing kind of hit us pretty good. And so she's had to kind of – it's still set up in the garage, but it's been temporarily shut down.
When you started that off, what was the reaction like from your neighbors and the people that were coming by the library to check out books?
Yeah, they thought it was really cool. I mean, it was, and then Allie was getting to the point, she loves math, so she was making like math worksheets. You're going to be able to do math worksheets and all that, and then she was going to, hopefully the kids are going to bring them back to them, and she was going to get to grade them and all those kind of things. So, yeah, it was really good. And then when I tweeted it, we started to have some people from across town just to come over and see Allie. Trust me, Allie's the star in our household. I promise you, I'm a way, way distant second in this place. And but then, like I said, then the social distancing and everything got a little more serious, and obviously it is what it is today. And so hopefully we can crank that thing back up maybe in May sometime.
Hey, Coach, I seen on Twitter that your favorite show is The Boys and favorite movie is Shawshank Redemption. With this free time, have you been watching a lot of The Boys or rewatch Shawshank Redemption?
I have. It's funny you say that. Even before I became the coach at Ole Miss, I was just a huge Morgan Freeman fan. I mean, he's one of those guys. I don't know if he's ever made a bad movie, And then it gets so great that we've become friends because of obviously his ties to Ole Miss. And so anytime he's in town, he's coming to our guys' games. And so I've had a chance to play golf with him. He's an avid golfer, and he dates a professor on our campus. And so we have – he's just a great, great guy. Spent some time with our team. And, I've watched The Voice, and I've just got Netflix. I'm trying to get into some of those series late at night. I'm not very good at the series stuff. I'm a movie guy, so my wife doesn't like movies, so I'm kind of by myself. But I've watched Shawshank Redemption twice since we shut down late at night.
Have you broken into the Tiger King phenomenon yet?
I just tried it last night. And I didn't really get through the first episode, and so I got to get back into it. I don't know if I was still kind of doing some other things and on my phone. Have you guys watched it? I mean, I haven't really got through a lot of it.
I just finished it the other day.
Not yet.
Did you like it?
I did. I'm a big docuseries person, so
Right.
I love it like that. And I also remember when Joe Exotic ran for president, so it kind of came full circle. It was pretty wild. I'd recommend it for someone. And I think what's interesting is that you're seeing all these sports fans right now gravitate to the same things because we're all still trying to talk about the same thing since we don't have any games going on.
Well, I'm going to get back. Like I said, I just tried it last night. Now I'm going to try to get back into it this week sometime.
You'll have to give Twitter a full review.
I was about to say, if I can throw in my take, the one thing that stood out to me is the people that make the most sense in that series are missing a limb. So like the people missing an arm or missing a leg, like either from like a tiger attack or something, they're generally rational people.
Really?
It's really mind-numbing. It's the most insane thing I've actually ever done.
Everybody loves it. I'm going to get back in it.
If you just want a good series to watch Ozark as well. I just finished season 3. Ozark is great.
I've just seen that on my Netflix right there, and so I'm trying to. Those are kind of things that I've got to do later on at night. You know what I do? I go back and rewatch movies. I'm one of those guys. I did watch. Was it 1917? I watched that the other night, and that was a good show. But I'm one of those guys. I always go back and rewatch shows when I have a couple hours. So I've got to start doing some new things.
I'm the same way. I always go back and rewatch the movies that I grew up on or I just know that I enjoy because for me, I don't know if you're this way, but I'm investing 2 or 3 hours in something. I want to know I'm going to enjoy it.
That's exactly the point. I promise you.
Kermit, you mentioned this is kind of like a dead period for you, obviously, with the social distancing and impacts on recruiting and things like that right now. How, obviously without going into too much detail, once all of this went through, what was maybe the plan of attack? What were some of the discussions that went into how this changing world, and yet you still have to maintain the standard at a competitive level?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I think we are still figuring it out. Like we do talk to other coaches and staffs. I mean, obviously, the very first thing you think about is the well-being and safety of your players and their families, and to really emphasize the social distancing part, even a couple of weeks ago, just how serious that everybody saw it. And now I think all the young people for a while, including our players, they just kind of thought they were untouchable with it, And so getting back home, practicing that to keep their families, their grandparents, and everybody they have contact. And then the second thing was, we took an extra week of spring break for Ole Miss, like everybody else, to try to redirect and see exactly how we're going to convert all the classrooms into online with Zoom. And so now just virtual tutoring with Zoom. Our guys have a daily schedule, just like they would if they were here in Oxford going to class. And there may be a virtual Zoom English tutor for a player for 1 hour from 9 to 10. And so they have an academic coach. Today at 3 o'clock, we have a virtual team meeting. We'll do it once or twice a week to where everybody will get on Zoom. We'll just kind of have everybody talk and just kind of what they've been doing and kind of emphasize academic concerns. And then I try to give them updates just on where I think everything is. When the president obviously moved the date back to April 30th, the NCAA had kind of a soft date of April 15th, way back, that this is when we're going to maybe start recruiting. Well, obviously that's about to change. And so I think we're all hoping now that if we could get some sort of summer school in, maybe July, and then that may be a reach. But I think for that. Maybe at some point, and students can start maybe coming back to campus. Got to be great, like maybe for the second semester of July.
You mentioned that virtual team meeting. I know the SEC said virtual coaching is supposed to start this week. Is that a part of virtual coaching?
No, really that team meeting. It's another good question. That team meeting is really it's mostly academics with our guys, our academic. Who heads our FedEx Center for basketball, Drew Clinton. He'll come on and kind of go over the week, what's expected. Then assistant coaches, we may have some reminders of, hey, a couple of guys maybe have holes on their accounts because we're starting fall registration. So it's kind of a cleanup thing that we will do. And if we did that, then what we would do is probably do it more individualized, with players. You get up to 2 hours a week. We can send them and suggest things that they can do. The biggest part, guys, there's just no gyms open, but so now it really is old school. It's like when I grew up. I mean, have guys send me stuff. They just send me stuff just on their own, like jump ropes in the driveways. Somebody found a kettlebell. If you saw Terrence Davis, who's now the sixth man with the Raptors, he's in his high-rise apartment in Toronto on this balcony way up in the sky, and he's got a dumbbell, sweating his tail off. He'd been through a workout in this little 20-foot deal. Everybody has to improvise and be creative, and so that's kind of what everybody's doing. So we'll check on that from time to time.
Has the SEC given you any guidelines as to what virtual coaching should entail?
Yeah, that what they wanted to do is just kind of instructing, like maybe you could go over film review. It's just – I don't know how many people will really do that right now. We've just been through such a long season to kind of go back through film. I think what we would be doing now is in our 4 hours a week on the floor, we get back to really a lot of individual instruction, and even in the strength and conditioning part of it, we'll do some, not a whole bunch, because really, you've really got about 3 weeks. And then what you have to do, you have to shut down all activities a week before final exams start. I don't know how many college basketball coaches will really, unless you may be a brand new coach that's never had his team on the floor yet. Andy Kennedy maybe at UAB, former assistant mine, just got the Georgia Southern job yesterday. Brian Berg, who's at Texas Tech. So probably some of those newer staffs, they'll take more advantage of it.
Coach, just with everything that's going on now, and we go back a few years ago to when you first got the job, what do you think is the more challenging off season? Dealing with all this, or trying to implement your system when you first got hired?
Yeah, it's not even a close second. This is the hardest thing we've all ever been through in coaching. And when I got the job 3 years ago, there's a ton of excitement. I think it was March 20th when I was named the coach. And you get jobs, and the small things, it gets all relative compared to what we're going through now. But that your locker room's unstable. You just lost a coach, and different guys are thinking about transferring, leaving, and all the different things that go through it. But what I found early on is that guys like Terrence Davis, Breon Tyree, Devontae Shuler, those guys, they had a great affection for Ole Miss. They just really enjoyed going to school here. And but it was fun. I can't imagine what a new staff would go through right now. I talked to Andy Kennedy the other day, or Brian Berg, or I have another former assistant, just got a Division II job out in New Mexico. At least I got a chance then. I could have individual meetings. I got to know my guys. I could go have lunch with them in the cafeteria, all the things. So now you think about it, you're doing press conferences with nobody there, and now you're getting to know a person just like we are right now. And so that would be really, really tough to try to get yourself acclimated to your job. And think about it, you can't meet any boosters either. So no doubt this is a lot more difficult, but I can only imagine for a brand new staff.
You mentioned how different things have changed, obviously, with limiting the amount of people that can be in rooms and having to do press conferences, for example, with nobody there. Do you feel like these are things that might become permanent once we continue to move on as the months go on?
I don't think so. I don't think we'll go back as teams if this is in place. I just don't think we'll be allowed to go. I think that hopefully those small group numbers go up, and because how could football have some sort of practice in the summer, and so I just think what we have to do with college athletics, we've got to gain hope. I love Kirk Herbstreit, but I was disappointed in his comment just to say he's the face of college football almost to say, I'd just be shocked if we're going to have to play college football. You know, I just think we all got – I know people can think that, and I get it. It's a possibility, but I just think people have to have hope. Fans have to hold out for hope, you know, that we're going to play college football. And you're right now, I know, think about right now is right in the middle of when people are trying to sell college football season tickets, trying to sell boxes, hard enough as it is, you know, that so hope, I know it's kind of getting a roundabout way of answering your question, but I just think that hopefully we got to hold out hope that the numbers are going to go up, that maybe in June the numbers will get down and we can kind of revene and come back and get back to some kind of normalcy if we can.
Coach, you kind of mentioned it. We'll go back to Terrence Davis. You got to spend 1 year with him, and obviously his story has been something that's been fascinating to this point in the NBA season, where he went undrafted, ended up being with the world champions. Now he's playing a pivotal role as a sixth man for them. What did you see? And I think we talked a little bit about during the season. You know, what did you see about Terrence that maybe a lot of people maybe didn't, and to go from a guy who's undrafted to having a role that was a 2 seed in the East?
Yeah, it's one of the most remarkable stories, especially when you look at him and say, okay, ask Terrence Davis how many points he averaged as a freshman as Ole Miss. Averaged 1 point a game. And what TD did, I asked him about it. I said, TD, how'd you handle that? Because we had played TD when he was a sophomore and a junior. When I was at Middle Tennessee, we had a series with Ole Miss. I got a chance to see him. You know what he did? He didn't blame anybody. He didn't go blame the coach. He didn't blame the system. He says, Coach, I just knew I had to get better. I just got right in the gym. I just knew my game wasn't right. And so he made a big jump. And then when he came to me, boy, again, I could tell he was all in. He put his name to test the draft, but he goes, Coach, trust me. I'm not going to the NBA. I want to know exactly where I'm at. I want to get good feedback. I'm coming back to Ole Miss because I want to go to the NCAA tournament my senior year. His work ethic was terrific, but I just knew, too, he made progress for us for a year, but I just knew he was going to keep getting better and better. And you're talking about a guy, he turned down 2 teams being drafted in the second round. I mean, he turned them down. I thought he was crazy, you know. I mean, I was speaking in D.C. the night of the draft, and I got back the next morning, and I said, TD, but people tell me, did you really? He goes, yeah, Coach. They wanted me to sign a 2-way in the second round, and kind of that's what I wanted to agree to. And he said, I'm not doing that. He said, Coach, I bet on myself. And so I went out with him with his first summer league game with the Nuggets, played his tail off. And then that night we were having dinner, and that's when the Raptors, you know, guaranteed him a 2-year contract. So what a great story. 1 point game as a freshman, bet on himself, and now he's got a chance to really make lifelong money.
Do you see anybody on your roster now that could possibly blossom like Terrence Davis did as their career continues?
Yeah, you know, as the guys coming back, you know, I would hope, you know, Devontae Shuler needs to have a great senior year, you know, and ownership. I think what you look, you know, is that it doesn't really – winning impacts a lot of things. Terrence Davis averaged 14 points a game for us and about 5 rebounds. But he's a 6th man for a team that has a chance to win an NBA championship. So it really doesn't matter about points you score. It's just development. You'll see some guys get drafted in the first round, the NBA draft, that guys will be average maybe 9 or 10 points a game on really good teams, young players. You know, so you know, Devontae Shuler, KJ Buffin, Blake Henson, these guys, they've all got chances. They just got to make jumps. They got to keep working. You know, I know everybody on our team has aspirations of trying to be a pro. You know, there's so much competition out there, you know, so these are some big years. And I told our players this, you know, for the next 2 or 3 months, are going to be trying times for working out. But you know what? There's going to be a guy like Jarkel Joyner, who's probably our hardest working guy, who's from Oxford, every day. He's in his driveway. He's doing something. So the most creative guys, I'm telling you, for working out are fixing to pass guys in college basketball. There's going to be some cats just say, look, there's not a gym open. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to watch all these Netflix movies, you know, and I'm not going to be right. And there's going to be someone, they're going to try to find something out there, outdoor courts or something, to get their game better.
Speaking of competition, Kermit, yesterday Reggie Perry announced he was going to go to the NBA draft. Obviously, you see him twice a year. We're at Mississippi State. What was it like game planning against someone like that? Where do you see his ceiling and how his game might translate to the pro game?
Yeah, you know, his dad played for my father at Mississippi State. Started at point guard for Al Perry for 3 years. So I've known Al. And then obviously it was crazy the two different games we had this year. Our place and we won by 25, and then we go to their place. Reggie was terrific at their place. I mean, he had 24 points, 14 rebounds. He's very skilled. He can make a three. I think it'll eventually translate to an NBA three. He's a really good passer. He's a good rebounder. So I think those are kind of the things that NBA teams are looking for. And if you look at it now, maybe late first round, maybe some second round, but I do definitely think it's a guy who's going to make an NBA roster.
Speaking of players that can make a big impact in the NBA, bringing Tyree, we saw what he did for you the last 2 seasons. When he's hot, knocking down shots from behind the arc all the time. How do you see him translate onto an NBA roster?
Yeah, I think obviously Brian can score at all 3 levels, can make a three. Great, maybe one of the best mid-range games in college basketball. He's athletic at the rim with either hand. He did some things this year, phenomenal, 40 against Mississippi State at home, first team All-SEC 2 years in a row. That's really hard to do. It's kind of a difficult time for Brian because he's got a great body of work. But you think about it, right now he would be going to Portsmouth, which is the best seniors. It's a showcase that TD played so well out last year. That got canceled. There's going to be 0 NBA workouts for guys like Brian, to go and work out for the teams. And you say, well, they've seen him all the games. They have, but they get a chance to really interact with Brian. And he's a real articulate guy that maybe, people get to him individually. So there's not going to be an NBA combine, probably not going to be a summer league. So think about it if it was for TD last year. Maybe that one summer league game caused Toronto to pull the trigger and sign him a 2-year deal. So it's going to be a little bit difficult, I think, for some of these guys. But still, he's got a great body of work. And I do think, whatever route, but I do think Brian is going to definitely make an NBA roster at some point in his career.
And Coach, losing.
Right. Go ahead, Chris.
Go ahead, Tom. I was just gonna say, with losing Brian Tyree, he's a top 10 all-time scorer in Ole Miss history. He's had a great impact on the university. Just how do you keep things rolling next season despite losing such a talent?
Yeah, you just have to. We've got the one good thing about it. We've got 4 starters coming back. We've got 10 guys coming back in our program at least, and so it's always good to have good experience. We've signed a kid named Matthew Morrell, who was top 35 in the country. It's a really, really good player out of Memphis. Had a 6'11" kid sitting out. Sean Robinson was kind of top 75 that reclassed from 21 to 20. He redshirted. So we like him. Luis Rodriguez, who was our starting 3-man, got hurt after the 4th game, so he's back. So we feel really good about the depth of our team. We're going to try to add a guy or 2 in the spring. But, so just like we said, some of those guys we've mentioned, Devontae Shuler, Hadeem C., Blake, KJ, Austin Crowley, those guys, they've just got to, take good steps. And I know the SEC's not backing up, so the league is going to be really good again, but we feel really good about the direction where we're going.
You mentioned adding 2 guys in the spring. It seems like during this time of uncertainty you see on Twitter guys announcing that they're throwing their name in the hat of the transfer portal. It seems like guys who are seniors looking to be grad transfers, things like that. How, with this time while the recruiting restrictions are even in place, how does that impact reaching out to guys who might be interested in transferring or joining us as a grad transfer or something like that?
We're fixing to meet as a staff here in about 10 minutes, and we'll kind of go we do it daily, and it's just one of those things. Like we're probably talking to 15 or 20 guys who are in the transfer portal, 8 or 10 grad transfers, still recruiting 20s. The hard thing about it, obviously we can do this. We can FaceTime, unlimited texts, unlimited graphics, videos that you can send them about Ole Miss. But some of these guys have already done it, and some of these with the new restrictions of what the president just said yesterday, April 30th, and there's going to be a lot of guys who have to make decisions without taking official visits. They're just going to have to see it, videos, trust the coaches, get a relationship, and make some decisions, because who knows? It may be 1st of June before a guy can go out, or we can start going out and recruiting, or maybe somebody can come to your campus.
We're all missing March Madness a little bit, Kermit, so I was hoping – obviously, you were part of one of the bigger upsets in the NCAA tournament of the past decade with your Middle Tennessee team taking down Michigan State.
I love
What's the
that
story about that team or something that maybe a lot of people didn't know about leading up to that game to maybe get our March Madness fix in a little bit?
Yeah, it's funny. I went back and watched the game the other night, about probably a week ago, and then I watched the Minnesota game. We beat Minnesota the following year as a 12 seed. We really weren't a 12. We're more like a 5 or a 6, but that's where we were. You know, I had two guys from Mississippi. This is true story. One of them was my starting point guard, Jacob Ivory. We're playing Oklahoma State. He's from Murrah High School. He had a hard, tough fall, had some reoccurring concussions, and then we ruled him his career was done. Had another starting guard from the coast, Ed Simpson, a junior. The day before our tournament in Birmingham, the Conference USA tournament, Ed broke his foot in one of the most gruesome injuries I've ever seen. We stopped practice. Ambulance came and got him. And so both of those guys, so then we start the tournament the next day. And our team we played great in the tournament, won a great game against Old Dominion by 2 points. Reggie Upshaw made a two-shot foul to win it. And then I said, okay, the week before Michigan State, I said, guys, we're not going to do one thing contact. We went hard. There's going to be no contact. I was really worried about it. I was just paranoid about guys getting hurt. I wanted to enjoy the experience. And we just had this great air. And the one thing we hung on to, I said, guys, just think about it, shirts and skins. It's just if you're at the park and all of a sudden they rolled in and you rolled in, nobody thinks they're going to lose a pickup game, And so if nobody had their colors on and their names. And so that was kind of our mantra all week. And we got off to this great start, and all of a sudden 17,000 fans in St. Louis were Blue Raider fans. It turned into a home game, and it was just unbelievable. We just played at such a high level. And, that game is obviously the greatest moment probably in the history of Middle Tennessee athletics.
Coach, I'd be remiss, I think, for all of us if I didn't ask. Our favorite restaurant in Oxford is Southern Coop. Are you familiar?
Oh, yes, we are. Yeah, we are. Yes. There's a lot of them. God, there's so many great places in this town, and Southern Coop is terrific. Our players love Southern Coop, and so you guys, you're exactly right. We're trying to go out either for lunch or dinner and do some takeout stuff like we all are in our buy some gift cards just to try to create, because those places are like everywhere. They're going through some hard times in Oxford right now.
If you're walking into Southern Coop this afternoon, what are you ordering?
Yes.
Oh, so you tell. I've got to turn it on you. What's your favorite? What is your favorite?
Bone in 100% the whole way. Gotta get bone in.
Yeah, I'm a plain guy. I'm a plain guy, but it's bone in too. But
I like the honey toddy sauce.
Yeah, well, I'd like to know how many times that our players have ordered with our extra meals from Southern Coop. A ton to go, in our facility at the Tui facility. So I'm bone in, kind of plain with sauce on the side. Honey toddy is great for sure.
Dipping sauce.
Oh, dipping sauce. Yes.
Oh yes. Oh yeah. It's terrific. In fact, you gave me a good idea. That's one place that I have not done takeout. So now you've given me a good idea. I hope that's probably we'll probably eating wings tonight. So we'll probably be doing.
Yes.
That.
Their fries are fantastic too.
No question. No.
But I'll give you the chance too, Kermit. I know Ole Miss's Twitter account right now is running like a bracket of the best restaurants in Oxford. If you had to pick one where they delivered a meal to your house every day, which one would you pick?
Gosh, I can't do that. I may get fired if I did that. So I can't answer that. I promise you. I've got a lot of good ones. I really couldn't. I couldn't say one. I'm not going to. I'd get in trouble there. But there's a ton of them. And like I said, we're trying to kind of spread it around and go to some different ones because we take our recruits to a lot of them. I do my radio show from Boo Ray. Obviously John Kurtz's, restaurant, and they treat us really, really good. And so that's a great spot that we love to take our recruits to. And, yeah, I could just go on and on with a bunch of them.
I think we're good. I think that's all we got for you, Coach. We really appreciate you spending time with us on this Monday. Hope you stay safe. Wish your family well, and hopefully we can all get through all this quarantine time together a little bit easier.
Well, great. It was great to be with y'all. Stay safe and healthy. And hopefully when Allie's library opens back up, Courtney, we're going to have you guys to Oxford, okay?
Yes,
I'm going to order some wings for you guys. So we'll have some wings at the house, and we'll get the library going, okay?
That's the perfect setup. We'll be there.
Thank you, guys. See y'all.
Appreciate it.
How exciting. Thank you.